This is a video on related rates. The question states, two airplanes are heading towards Atlanta. The first is traveling at 600 miles per hour and is 400 miles north of Atlanta. The second is traveling 550 miles per hour and is 300 miles west of Atlanta. How fast is the distance between them decreasing? So the first step is to sketch a picture. So we've got our two airplanes. Here's Atlanta right here. And the first plane is traveling 600 miles an hour and is 400 miles north of Atlanta. So here's the first plane. And the second plane is west of Atlanta. I'm going to mark X to be the distance from the second plane to Atlanta, Y to be the distance from the first plane to Atlanta, and the Z will be the distance between the two planes. I see I have a right triangle here. So now let's write down all our known numbers. So first is that dx over dt is equal to negative 550 because that is 550 miles per hour west of Atlanta. So dx dt is negative 550. The first plane is traveling 600 miles per hour. So dy dt is negative 600. Notice both these numbers are negative because the distances to Atlanta is decreasing, getting smaller. Okay, now our question is how fast the distance is between them decreasing. So that's how fast z is changing. So our question is, what is dz over dt? Okay, we know that the x is going to be 300 because we are 300 miles west of Atlanta from the second plane. We also know that y is 400 because the first plane is 400 miles north of Atlanta. To get z, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. Notice that we have a 300, 400, 500 right triangle. You're used to 3, 4, 5. It works for 300, 400, 500 also. So we could say that z is equal to 500. Now the relationship between x, y, and z is the Pythagorean theorem, which states that x squared plus y squared is equal to z squared. So we're in a related rates problem, so let's take a derivative of both sides with respect to t. And I get the derivative of x squared is 2x times dx dt. The derivative of y squared is 2y times dy dt. And the derivative of z squared is 2z times dz dt. So now I'm ready to plug in all of my numbers. So we have x is 300, dx dt is negative 550, y is 400, dy dt is negative 600, and z is 500. So we want dz dt, so I just multiplied these together, added them up, and then divided by 1,000. And what I arrived at was that dz over dt is equal to negative 810. So our final answer is that the distance between the two airplanes is decreasing at a rate of 810 miles per hour. And I'm done with the problem.